You never get too depressed. You could be upset, you could be sad, somebody died. But you can't fall into the super mourning, because then the Yetzer can get you. There's an interesting medrash. Story of Eliyahu Novi. I was going on the way, I was giving a shiur. The guy stayed making stuff. He was kind of back making fun, making jokes. So I went over to him, Amarti lo. He says, this the guy, he says, what are you going to answer at the end of the day? So the end of the day, he's going to have to answer, why didn't you learn? You're busy making fun of me. Amar, I said, I have a good teretz. I didn't get a brain. I'm born dumb. I was born dumb. Hashem gave me a brain. I'm not smart enough to learn, so I make fun of learning. Amarti lo, I said, okay, what do you do for a living? I trap birds and fish. So Eliyahu says to him, who gave you the brains to go and take flax and weave traps and place them in the right places and so you can catch the animals? So he says, well, I got it from Yishamayim. So he says, Likach Pish and Largo Lot, you got Hashem give you to make traps for animals. Hashem gave you a brain, and to learn Torah, which he says Kikar V'Davar Alecha Modi. It's very, very close to you. He didn't give you a brain. The guy started to cry. So Eliyahu says, stop crying. It's time to change. In other words, the same idea. Don't cry. Cry for 1 minute. And realize, I got to change. Part of our problem is we give up on ourselves. That's the Yetzer Hara. You can always the measure of the Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Tov is, what's the result? I don't come to davening, I don't learn, I'm a loser, I'm always going to be a loser, I'll never get out of this, I'm a nobody, I'm a zero. You know what? If you keep doing that, that's who you'll be. So you have to feel, it's bad that I didn't come to davening, it's bad I don't come to learn, bad I didn't do right. Then say, but I could do it now. The Yetzer Hara results in non-action, and the Yetzer Tov results in action. Whenever you get into a feeling that I'm not doing anything, I'm not accomplishing, and I'm not acting, then it's not action. And whenever you get into, if you don't get motivated by your feeling bad, then don't feel bad. There was an interesting story, the first shidduch in the Torah. And the Rabbi G used to say, and Rashi even says it, the Farish. He didn't say it this way, but when Eliezer's trying to figure out what kind of girl for Avram, he gives a test. That's a test. She's going to do chesed, extra chesed. So Rashi even says that. He says if she does chesed, he fits into Avram's family. So Rashi Zatzal used to say, he didn't say how long Mishman Esra she davened, how frum she was, right? How tznizik she was. Does she do chesed? See, chesed is an overwhelming thing. We think in our lives, how much chesed do we do? And the truth is, it's a very interesting idea. There's another interesting medrash. You know the story that Eliezer, when Avram told him to go, he says, Avram, I'm a tzaddik, I'm your Rosh Hashiva, I spread your Torah, I have a daughter, right? Maybe it's a good shidduch. So Avram said, sorry, but B'ni Baruch, I'm from Shem, I'm Baruch, and you're from Chlam, so you're Or. Vein Or, Medabik Baruch, we can't make a shidduch, we can have an Or, a cursed person, and a Baruch person. You're a great guy, Eliezer, but you're Or. That's what he says, right? Rashi brings it. So in the Medrash it says that when Lavan meets him, he says, Ba Baruch Hashem. Interesting Lashon. Ba Baruch Hashem. Come blessed of Hashem. The Medrash says, Kan Yotza Miklal Or L'Klal Baruch. At that moment, even though he's from Cham, at that moment he went out from Klal Or to Baruch. So the Alter Sabbatka said an interesting thing. He said, what happened? He was for many years. He used to teach Avram's Torah. Chazal tell us he's Eliezer Nameshek. What's Nameshek? Dolo Umashke. He would go in and dip in and spread out and feed everybody bashkas to give everybody drinks. The Torah of his Rebbe. He was a Rosh Hashiva. He did everything whatever he wanted, but he was still Or. What changed at this point? Chazal Sabbatka said nothing but Chesed. Eliezer really had a daughter, right? But he was able to do this chesed for Avram. He went the way Avram said it, and he looked for the girl. And he said he could have come back and said, look, I went, I couldn't find her. But he didn't. He looked for the girl, and he found her. And because of that, And because of that, it's Yosef Miklal Or that chesed, with that purity, when we could have had ulterior motives, that changes him from the Baruch. Think about ourselves. If you really do a chesed, you really care about somebody, you take care of him, Baruch. You know, I'm going to divert for a moment. It's a very personal thing, I'll tell you. But I think it's Kedai. You know, if you learn the Havas Chesed, anybody ever learn the Havas Chesed, you'll see in the Havas Chesed how much, you know, what Chesed is. And especially Chesed of lending things, especially lending money. So I read an article, this is a year ago, probably a little over a year ago in the summer. I read an article in the paper about this guy who didn't have kids for many years. And he decided to open a gemach. And a few months after he opened a gemach, he started having children. He had his big family. So I told my son, it was a very big gemach, I told him the story. So he says, that story, I said, that's my partner in my gemach. My son has a multi-million-dollar gemach, Baruch Hashem. And his partner was this guy in the story. So I said, okay, we're gonna start a branch in Bnei Brak, and your brother Yitzchak is gonna be in charge. Yitzchak was married 5 years, never had any kids. I said, your brother Yitzchak will be in charge of Gemach in Bnei Brak. And he started it. And 3 or 4 months after the Gemach started, good news from Yitzchak, and maybe it was more on Tisha B'Av, and the verse was on Shabbos Nav. So see, the Kesser really works. Anyway, there's an interesting thing, another interesting Rashi. Rashi says, there's a story over here. The whole story, we know the story. When Avraham tells Eliezer what to do. Eliezer goes to the Mayan, and he has this whole speech to Hashem. He sent me the girl. If I ask her for a glass of water, and she says, I'll give you a glass of water. I'm going to give all your animals a glass of water. I'll know it's the right chick, right? I never said it like that. I'll know it's the right woman, right? And that's what happens. And he goes back and he meets Lavan of Besuel, and he repeats the story entirely. The Torah repeats the entire story, word for word almost. So Rashi says, Amar Rabbi Achal, Yofes Yikosin Shalav Yofes, Yitarosin Shalbani. More beloved to Hashem is the sicha, the shmuzing, the chilling, the shmuzing, the story, the storytelling of the avodim of the avos more than the Torah of the sons. Shari Parsha Shal Eliezer Kfula B'Torah. The Parsha of Eliezer's story is totally doubled in the Torah. V'harba Gufei Torah, and many Gufei Torah, Lo Natnala B'Ramizah. He's only given B'Ramizah in hints, right? You're learning now Arbim Chasar Achas Melech Shabbos, right? How many? And it's interesting. The Torah also says, Rabbi Lefkowitz says this is the right of Torah Shabbat Peh, it has to be true. The Torah talks about breaking Shabbos. How many times? Where does it tell you what breaking Shabbos is? You figure it out, a carve to the Mishkan, and you have to figure out. Right? It's not written in the Torah anywhere. To figure it out, right? 10 times in the Torah it says going to kill you for breaking Shabbos. It doesn't tell you what it is, what it means clearly, right? The right of Torah Shabbat Peh. But it's a Ramizah, right? A Ramizah. Hilchos Shabbos. Shabbos is the foundation of our Emunah, and it's a Ramizah. And this story is totally repeated. It's a funny thing. So what do you mean, Yafis Yichos and Shalom Yavos? What does that mean? Why is it more beloved to Hashem than the Torah of the children? So I think the pshat might be that Eliezer, a person who grew up with Avraham Avinu, every action of his was the Torah action. In other words, we're supposed to get through the mitzvahs, get to a certain level. Eliezer got that level by being Avraham so many years. And he was able to act. The way he acted is the way you're supposed to end up with the Torah. So it's obviously constant. If you see how he speaks and how he talks, then you realize that we learn from that much more than we learn from that can be Ramizah. That has to be clearly spoken, and the Torah can be Ramizah. You'll figure it out. But here we have to learn from these things. And the interesting thing. It's interesting how Eliezer comes. It's Tam and I did that from Rabbi G also. And he wants to tell him the story. And he comes with a massive amount of money, right? A massive amount of money. And what does he start? He says, Eved Avram. You know what I am? I'm Avram's slave. I'm not his CEO. I'm not his great. I'm his slave. Right? Person. No, that's an important idea in Musar. You know, think who you are. Could have said, I'm the CEO. Look at him. I'm the president of the corporation. I'm the slave. That's how he starts. What's very interesting in this story, when the story is repeated, it's not repeated exactly the same way. Not exactly the same way. And Rashi points that out, right? he repeats it. Let me find where Rashi says it. He repeats the entire story with one small change. The small change is that in the original story, he prays to Hashem and he says to Hashem, please, I'm going to do this trick if the girl offers me and the camel, she's the right girl. Rivka does all that. Immediately he gives her the bracelet and the things, right? Immediately he does that. Then he says, who are you? Right? When he repeats the story, he changed it a little bit. He says, I saw Rivka, she does it. I said, who are you? Oh, Bas Masuel, great. So, I mean, Bas is the granddaughter of Nachar, Avram's brother, Avram's niece. So it's that great niece, that's great, here's the stuff. So in the original, he gives it to her before he asked her, and afterwards, he gives it only after, he tells him that he asked first, and doesn't give it. So obvious kasha is, first of all, why in the original story, Rashi points this out, why in the original story didn't you ask her? Does it make sense to ask her who she is before you give her the stuff? Giving her hundreds of thousands of dollars of jewelry, you're not going to find out who she is. So Rashi says, because he was so batuach in his tefillah, he said, there's no question who she is. Right? Only have to ask her afterwards. So when he repeats the story, he doesn't say that. So a very good point over here. The point is over here is the reason that the Mepharshim say, the Midrash says, if he would have stopped and asked her the question, it was Ramiza when the bracelet was against for the Seres and Dibros, and the bracelet, and the other was for the Luchos. Each one was a remiss to something great. Had he asked her and stopped, that whole kavanah would have been lost. So he couldn't do that. When he repeated the story, he couldn't tell the story out like that, because they won't appreciate who I am. They won't appreciate how much bitachon I have, and that's another thing that we learn from these people. You've reached a certain madrega, maybe. Not everybody appreciates who you are. So no, don't do things that they'll say, "Wow, he's a weirdo," right? You gotta cool it down for some people. That's life. So Eliezer cooled it down. Okay, I asked her before I gave her all this stuff. I asked. He didn't have to ask because he was so certain that the Susa of Avraham would be good. But when he told the story, he says they're not going to relate to that how much chus there is. So I'm going to tell the story. I'll say I asked first. And the Baruch Hashem was a very good shidduch. I have a whole theory about the shidduch. Rivka and Yaakov and Yitzhak will discuss it maybe next week. Okay, that's another thing. Another idea. But realize these things. Another very interesting Ramban at the end of the parasha. We'll close with that. An interesting Ramban at the end of the parasha. And somebody mentioned to me before this. It says, "V'yigva v'yomos Avram b'seva tova v'zokim v'sova v'osev alamav." Avram died. Yigva is a lashon of dying of tzaddik. B'seva tova v'zokim v'sova, old and satiated. Right? The Ramban says, "Shiro kol mishalos libo." All the things he wanted in his life, he got. He wanted the son to be married. He wanted to have money, everything. The Sova Kol Tova, he had everything good. Chen Sova Yomav, and he had the good days. And this is what the Ramban says. Sofud Chastei Hashem b'tzadikim. This is the way tzadikim look at the chesed of Hashem. Umida Tovahem. It's a good midah. Shelo Yisavo b'Mosros. Avram didn't want anything extra. Right? V'lo Kamo Shomer b'Shar Noshim. Not like Chazal say, everybody is always kesef lo yitzvah kesef. You want money, you'll never have enough money. Another Chazal is yesh biyad, the money you have in your pocket of $50, Ratzah Masayim, you want $200, $100. You have in your pocket $100, you want $200. You never have enough, right? So he says Avram wasn't that person. He was happy. So Kasha obviously is, Avram had everything. He was very rich, multi-millionaire. His son got married. He had everything. So what was the big shvach? But you see from this Ramban, a very interesting thing. You see from this Ramban that even if you have everything, you're multi-millionaire, you still want more. People aren't satiated. You got to be a tzaddik to be happy with what you have. So that's something we should always think about. That we always want more. Maybe I don't really need more. Maybe I have what I need. Maybe Hashem, it says in the Mishnah, right? Eizo Asher Samech Bechalko. You have what you have. Hashem, we have to realize, Hashem gives us what we need. And it was a shvach for Avram. I guess it's an exception. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen that way. That he was satisfied with what we need. And it's a very important idea. The end of the parsha is a very interesting idea. The end of the parsha. How many of us would want to be married under these circumstances? Rivka never met Yitzchak. Yitzchak never met Rivka. Right? They never met each other. First time they met each other when she came. And it says.
First class.
It says that he took her into the tent. And he loved her. So you see a very interesting idea that your love grows after you're married. That's all. Don't you always want to think, I gotta fall in love. Yitzchak didn't fall in love till after he was married, right? V'yavo Yisrael Ola, Zor Imo, V'kachas Rivka V'tiyah Isha V'yavo. He becomes a wife, and then she loves her. And
how long after was he married?
What?
How long was he married till he loved her?
I didn't say. It doesn't say in the pasuk. It's pretty quickly, it seems. But when you get together, you can love each other. Before that, I always say when you're dating a girl, you don't really love her. You're maybe infatuated her, and maybe you're looking forward to being with her physically, but you don't really love her. And love comes afterwards. Love after. I see somewhere in the pasuk that love comes afterwards. So maybe I'll share with you a quick story. A cute thing from the Boston Rebbe. It's no related to this parsha. I hope I can explain it quickly because it took me an hour to explain this to the guys.
Wait, about the senior Boston Rebbe?
What?
Boston Rebbe, the senior?
No, when he spoke to the guys 2 years ago.
Oh, the Boston Rebbe.
Our Boston
Oh,
Rebbe.
okay.
Yeah. So he said this, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember when he said this. But he said this. He said, Yonis Irish was a child. He was very smart. I really knew he was smarter than the average. And people in the city used to pick on him. So one day they said, Johnny, tell us the Tvar Torah. What they call him Johnny, but okay. You know what they call him Johnny, right? Tell us the story. Tell us the Tvar Torah. He says, from what? So he said, the Siddur. He says, okay. It says, Rabbi Shmuel Omer. The Siddur, the Rabbanah says, Rabbi Shmuel Omer. He had 2 kashas. Who would name Yishmael? Kid Yishmael. And why does it say Omer? He says. It should say Omer Rabbi Shmuel, like it says over there. So he says in the present. Right? So he says, tell you what, because Rabbi Shmuel said that how do I have a name Yishmael? From the pasuk you see Yishmael the Tshuva. Chazal tells Vibro so Yitzchak Yishmael. Who's first in the pasuk? Yitzchak.
Yes.
Yitzchak. So you see Yitzchak before Yishmael the Tshuva. Right? That's why I'm named Yishmael, because Yishmael the Tshuva. Right? You'll say Ein Mukta Mucha, but Torah is not in chronological order. But one of my 13 things that I hold is Klal U'Prat U'Klal. Right? So if you tell me that there's no chronological order, the Klal means the subject, then the specific, and then the subject. And there's a way to the darshan. So if there's no specific order in the Torah in one pasuk, you can never have a Klal U'Prat U'Klal. Right? You can never have a Klal U'Prat U'Klal. So when it says Ein Mukta Mucha Torah, the stories, but not in the one pasuk. So when you say, so that's why you see the tshuva, right? Anyway, it's a right to the tshuva. Yishmael does tshuva at the end of his life, which Esav never does, by the way. That's next week's parsha. Esav never does tshuva at the end of his life. Anyway, we see in the parsha, gentlemen, that the others are very real people, and they were able to do it in a way that they could find Klal Yisrael. In other words, Avram Avinu could have mourned too much. He could have done it. He could have fallen into a depression. But he was smart enough not. And Eliezer could have not found the Kala for Yerif, trying to get his daughter in there. Could have. And Avram Avinu could have never been satiated, but he wasn't. What do we do? What do we learn? We learn that, you know what? Maybe it's something. Maybe it's telling me something. And it's telling us that, you know what I said in the beginning, Messiah again, Maisim. When can my Maisim be those Maisim that Avram Avinu would be proud of, that Yitzchak Avinu would be proud of? Right? Can I be that person? Can I be that person who's so committed and is so who cares so much And the truth is, the first thing we say, last week's parsha, let's say Shmuz last week, one of the purposes of the Akedah, Hashem knows who Avraham Avinu was all the time. One of the purposes of the Akedah is for Klal Yisrael to get in our genes the midos of Avraham Avinu. We have it in our genes. And the serious nefesh doesn't mean that we have it in our genes that Avraham Avinu did. We have the ability to do it right. Because I'll tell us, Hashem is lo bo b'trunya. You know what that means? He's not coming to attack us. Hashem is not coming to attack us. Hashem loves us. Whatever we're supposed to do, we have the ability to do. Avraham Avinu was able to do that all the time. And Yitzchak Avinu, I imagine, was like that also. And we don't always do it properly, but we have the ability to do it. Hashem is lo bo b'trunya. Hashem doesn't want to catch us. I want to catch you. I'm going to catch this guy doing nothing wrong, but Hashem doesn't want to catch us. Hashem says, I want it to work. And there's nothing that He says we should do that we can't do. So we have all these excuses. Why didn't I learn today? I just told you, I read the Medrash of Shiur Nov. Why didn't I learn today? Well, it was too hard. Right? Why didn't I get up for davening? No. We have all the dumb excuses in the world. And we have no reasons. And it's time at this point in our lives, at this point in the year, gentlemen, the year is flying by. Right? It's almost Hanukkah. Rosh Chodesh Kislev. A few more days Rosh Chodesh Kislev. It's almost Hanukkah. Hanukkah is Purim Pesach. Year's over. And the guys saying you guys know I'm telling the truth, right? It's true what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The year flies by. If I don't get my act in order, it's going to fly by and leave me behind. If I get my act in order, I have a chance of making it. Hashem gave us, and I want to tell you something. It'll never in your life be easier than it is now. It'll never in your life be as easy as it is now. Roll out of bed to davening. You have Rebbeim sitting here all day, all they want to do is teach you Torah. That's all they want to do. Rabbi G wants to get kids for next year also. Okay, but mainly all we want to do. All we want to do is teach you Torah. And that's why he's here really, Rabbi G. You've got to get a recruit. Right? But he gets money for it, so he wants to go to it'll never be easy in your life. And never again in your life will it be as this easy. If you don't take advantage of it now, you're going to end up being empty. The time, don't wait. The time has come now to grab what we can grab, use what we can use. Each one of us has within us the ability, the power to do what we're supposed to do. Like Eliyahu told the trapper, you have the brains to do certain things. Obviously, have the brains to learn Hashem's Torah, because Hashem wants you to learn His Torah, so He gave you the brains to learn His Torah. We have brains to do all kinds of stupid things. I'm sure we have brains to learn. The problem is, learning is hard. Okay, learning is hard. Other stuff is easy. Easy to play with the phone all day. It's hard to put the phone down. But it's time for us to learn that maybe by learning is more important. And maybe I have to learn that it's also, the time I get up in the morning is directly proportional when I go to sleep at night. It definitely directly proportional, and it's you'll see that it's question that it's right. Unless you're really actually got up at 2:30 a.m. no matter what. No matter when I went to sleep. But most of us not like that. Most of us go to sleep every night 2:30. We never get up early. 6:30 like he got up. But you're going to sleep. It's time for us to take our life and put it in order. Hashem, whoever decides to do that, and we'll have siyata d'shmaya. It's like I always say that if you decide that you don't want to get sick, you have siyata d'shmaya, they won't get sick. If you decide that you really want to make it in Torah, really decide, and show the everybody who decided to show them, because you can't just say, okay, I want to decide about it. To show them a little bit that you want to. All of a sudden, you'll be blessed with tremendous siyata d'shmaya. Hashem should give each one of us the koach and the ability and the desire to say, listen, whatever I did till now, I did it, but now I really want to make it. I will make it. And then Mitzvah Hashem will finish the year getting to where we want to go.
Amen.